When you think of West Texas, what comes to mind? Most people probably conjure up images of vast, rocky deserts that stretch as far as the eye can see, or giant dust storms and gusty winds blanketing everything in a thick layer of red dirt. Or maybe some think of sweaty cowboys rounding up large herds of longhorn. Although you'll certainly find all these things in West Texas, it isn't quite fair to paint the entire area as a single entity comprised of just deserts, dust, and cattle. Instead, West Texas is actually comprised of 5 distinct regions, each offering their own unique features and opportunities. The Llano Estacado, the Edwards Plateau, the Lower Basins, the Big Bend of the Rio Grande, and the Rugged Mountains. To help educate you on the specific landscapes of each region, I've chosen the following state and national parks to represent the area in which it is located. You will find at the top of this website, each of these parks has their own page that goes into detail about its history, geography, and unique attractions. In this video, I'll give a brief overview of each place. First, we have Caprock Canyon State Park and Trailway, situated on the edge of the Llano Estacado, which means staked plains in Spanish. This park is actually comprised of 2 separate units. The main unit is what you would consider a more traditional park, with over 10,000 acres of land. Here you'll find large cliffs and canyons that give way to flat grassland filled with native shrubs, wild grasses, and even a herd of bison maintained by the park. Several miles to the south, and not actually part of the main unit, is the Caprock Canyon's Trailway. This section is a 64-mile-long foot, bike, and horse trail that follows what used to be an active railway during the mid-1900s. Although the tracks have since been removed, there are many bridges, road crossings, and even a tunnel for visitors to explore as they make their way down from the high plains of West Texas into the lower prairies of Central Texas. Next up is Devils River State Natural Area, which is a couple hours south of Sonora on the boundary of West Texas and the Hill Country. As the name indicates, the main attraction of this park is the Devils River, the cleanest waterway in the entire state. The Devils River is able to maintain a year-round, crystal-clear appearance for a couple of reasons. First, the river is entirely spring and rainwater fed, and second, the river flows over hard limestone that doesn't create very much mud or silt to dirty the water. Also, because it's not technically designated as a state park, but instead a state natural area, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department is able to place a large emphasis on conservation of the plant and animal life in this area, and they only allow visitors at specific times of the week and year to maintain the pristine river. When you are able to visit, however, there are a number of activities you can enjoy, such as fishing, swimming, and kayaking along the river. For those who are especially adventurous, you can even camp overnight on the river as you make your way down to Lake Amistad, where the Devils flows into the Rio Grande. Then we have Big Bend Ranch State Park, which is likely the most remote and hard-to-reach spot you will ever visit. The park headquarters and ranger station are about 35 miles from the nearest town, Presidio, but it takes nearly 2 hours since much of the trip consists of one-lane, caliche, and dirt roads that are often washed out in many low-water crossings. But the journey is well worth the drive. Not to be confused with the neighboring and more well-known Big Bend National Park, the state park is comprised of land formerly owned by various cattle, sheep, and goat ranchers who had long given up trying to fight the unforgiving desert landscape. But, as the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and Big Bend Ranch is certainly something to be treasured. Visitors can find peace in the unbelievably quiet and isolated desert terrain where time seems to stand still. You can also explore the expansive backcountry where only traces of trails remain from ancient days of ranching and mining, or even remnants of Native American culture. Moving north, Balmoray State Park is considerably smaller than the rest of the parks mentioned here, but is not to be scoffed at. Located in the lower basins of West Texas, This park is centered around a Texas-sized swimming hole fed from a mountain spring many miles to the south. This park was constructed by the Civilian Conservation Corps during the Great Depression era, and the pool, which goes as deep as 30 feet in some areas, was entirely dug by hand. Even on the hottest days, the water maintains its cool temperature, allowing you to escape the intense Texas sun. The park also serves as a source of irrigation because once the water leaves the pool, it is diverted through aqueducts and into surrounding fields, allowing farmers to grow the locally renowned Pecos cantaloupes, which can be enjoyed beneath the plentiful shade trees on the picnic tables that dot the banks of the pool. Last but not least, we have the Guadalupe Mountains National Park, just south of the Texas-New Mexico state line, which boasts the state's highest point, Guadalupe Peak. Rising 8,749 feet above sea level, getting to the top of Texas is no easy feat. It involves an 8.4-mile round trip and over 3,000 feet of elevation climb, as there are no roads to the interior of the park. Furthermore, you must be prepared for a variety of weather conditions, ranging from triple-digit heat to severe thunderstorms and sustained winds upward of 80 miles an hour. Although the peak is by far the park's biggest attraction, there are many more trails to be explored, and even another entrance that requires you to drive through New Mexico in order to access it. Like Big Bend Ranch, once you get into the backcountry, you are met with a serene isolation that rewards your strenuous trek. In fact, U.S. Congress has officially designated most of the park as wilderness area. With multiple campground locations, this is a popular destination for people who want to backpack. That is, hike up with the equipment necessary to enjoy an overnight stay in the mountains. On a quick note, I'd like to add that I have personally been to each of these parks on multiple occasions. Having been born and raised in West Texas, I've always loved learning about and visiting these various regions. Especially during my high school years, I became an avid hiker, camper, and explorer of the parks mentioned here, and the others not included on this website. Throughout my numerous adventures, I've become intimately knowledgeable of the West Texas landscape, allowing me to create this list of parks that I feel best represent this part of the Lone Star State. Furthermore, you'll encounter many photos and videos on this website that I have personally captured, as well as short commentaries about memorable experiences I've had with each park. As you navigate this website, I hope you enjoy learning about and exploring my beautiful home and passion. Whether it is untouched wilderness teeming with wildlife, the peace and quiet of a deserted desert, or a nice, cool swim after a hot summer's day, the diverse West Texas landscape has something for everyone and is just waiting to be explored.